Deve Gaurane Nirvisesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhaktavanna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Shri Shri Radha Vrindavan Chandra ki jai, Shri Shri Nitai Gauranga ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Jai Gaur Premanande. So we have been discussing from chapter 6, when Lord Krishna is describing in some detail about the authentic yoga system called Ashtanga yoga system. And also, in the preliminarily, a few verses in the beginning of this chapter, Krishna explained the general principles of all the yoga systems. So, beginning from verse number 10 or 11, sorry, 11, Shucho Deshe, up to this verse 32, which we discussed last session, Yogi Paramatmaha, Krishna is describing the Ashtanga yoga system. Now, in the next set of verses, this chapter, Arjuna is coming up with two questions. Right? The first question now will be regarding the impracticality of following this Ashtanga yoga. And the next question, which will come a little later, after 4 verses, is about the destination of an unsuccessful yogi. So these two questions Arjuna is going to ask, and the rest of the chapter, Krishna is going to explain this. Right? So like last session we understood, this chapter is titled Sankhya Yoga, because detailed analysis of the different yoga systems and the principles of all the yoga systems is delineated here. Okay, so that's why in that way, if you see this chapter has 47 verses, out of which 22 verses are only dedicated for Ashtanga yoga. The rest of the chapter, if you see in that way, 25 verses are describing the general principles and some specific questions about the yoga system itself from Arjuna. Okay, so let's begin with question number 33. So actually, every chapter has a flow. Our sessions is basically to understand the flow and get to the spirit of what Krishna wants to communicate to us as a message. Okay, right? The 5th chapter ended with Krishna telling that we have to come to the stage of Brahman realization, that is spiritual realization. And one of the authentic processes is Ashtanga yoga. He just mentioned. And in the next chapter, he started explaining that system. So that way, if you see, the 5th chapter ended and the 6th chapter began with Krishna speaking continuously. There's no question in the beginning. It's a continuity. Right? This is how you should see the flow. Right? When some subject has ended, then Arjuna will ask a question, generally in the beginning, and Krishna answers. Just like after the end of this 6th chapter, Krishna has concluded on subject matter. So now Arjuna asks one question. Right? So that way we can see, I think there's a continuity here again. From 7th chapter again, there's no question of Arjuna at all, sorry. It comes in 8th chapter again. Krishna speaks some technical words and Arjuna asks question in 8th chapter. Like this, there's a continuity. So now let's begin with the discussion from where we left last time. Today we'll cover around 9 verses, 8 to 9 verses. So verse number 33, Arjuna Uvacha. Hope everybody is having your copy of Bhagavad Gita as it is. Arjuna Uvacha yo ayam yogastvaya proktaha samyena madhusudana etasyaham na pashyami chanchalatvat sthitim sthiram. So Arjuna is asking a question now, because he has heard a description of a specific yoga system called Ashtanga Yoga. 8 different procedures wherein one has to practice that and come to the stage of the final perfection called Samadhi. So he's telling, yo ayam yogas tvaya proktaha. The system of yoga which you have just now summarized to me, Krishna, samyena, which means you have summarized and you've spoken to me in a general way. It appears to be impractical and unendurable because of 2 reasons. Because my mind is restless and my mind is unsteady. You see. So Arjuna, being very genuine and frank, is expressing his mind to Krishna, because Krishna is accepted Krishna as a spiritual master now. So he's telling Krishna, the system, what you described to me, for me, it appears to be very impractical. Right? So which system? Just now what Krishna has explained, the Ashtanga Yoga system. So Arjuna is expressing his feeling of inability in process. Right? So basically, if you see what all Krishna has explained in this section, Ashtanga Yoga, one has to leave one's home. He has to go to a secluded place in the mountains or jungles to practice yoga, which is not practical for all of us in the age of Kali. All of us are so accustomed to stay in cities, in our houses with the comforts. Even there is no internet for 2 minutes, you become so restless. That is the situation now. What about going to forest and jungle? There is no network at all. Right? And moreover, basic facilities of timely food, timely comforts, all that should be taking a lot of austerities. So all that we are not used to. So that way, if you see the present age, people are accustomed to one different type of lifestyle. And also, Prabhupada says, the age of Kali presently also has many shortcomings. As Bhagavatam says, Prayed Alpayushas Sabhya, the very beginning, first chapter of the first canto of Bhagavatam says, mostly people in this age are short-lived. Because compared to the previous ages, the lifespan of people in Kali Yuga is very short. The Yuga previous to this, Dwapar Yuga, people used to live for 1,000 years, 1,000 years. And previous to that Yuga, Treta Yuga, people used to live for 10,000 years. Right? And Satya Yuga, people used to live for 1,00,000 years. Valmiki did tapasya for 60,000 years, Prabhupada says. So Kardama Muni did tapasya for 10,000 years. So there are descriptions in Bhagavatam like that. So in our case, when we hear 10,000 years, 1,00,000 years, oh, impossible. In our case, 100 years is maximum. But who is living 100 years? If somebody is living 100 years, it comes in newspaper, oh, yes, crossed century. Right? If people have crossed 60, 70, 80, oh, you have lived your life. That's why it said, mostly people in Kali Yuga are short-lived. Prayan alpayusha sabhya kalavasmin yugejana mandaha. Mandaha means they're very slow in spiritual understanding. Manda sumanda matayaha. Even though they are not interested in spiritual realization, but if they get interested, there are so many people who are there to misguide them in the name of spirituality. So-called gurus, so-called spiritual organizations which say, oh, we are teaching you spirituality, come. You have to see light and become God. Right? You have to close your eyes and meditate. Like there's so many things they falsely tell. And situation in Kali Yuga has become so unfortunate. People are so unfortunate. Prabhupada says, even the basic necessities of life they are not able to get. Right? Prabhupada says how when I went to America, I was when I was interacting with people, some mothers used to say they're very unhappy because I asked them why, because my son is not ready to get married. Right? People don't even want to marry. Like this Prabhupada was telling, unfortunate situation. They don't have basic necessities of life. Their life is so disturbed. This is a situation, and disturbance is so many. Right now, political disturbance going on in Delhi and affecting whole India. Right, and very soon election will come and disturb us, and wars are going on everywhere, all over world. Very soon there may be a big war, world war. Prediction. Like these disturbances every time, every moment. So, in that way, a practical method of self-realization, which is supposed to be followed, especially the system which Krishna explained now, seems to be impractical, right? Because the way Krishna explained his yoga system requires very disciplined way of life. Prabhupada says the yoga system which Krishna explained has a specific mode of living, specific manner of sitting, selection of place, detachment of mind from material engagement, so many things. Right? So, being a very practical person, Arjuna felt that this system of yoga he is unable to execute. Even though Prabhupada says he had many, many favorable situations for him. Why? Because he was from a very noble Kshatriya family, lineage of the Bharata Vamsha, all great kings. That family he belonged to, and the many, many kings in that dynasty have done austerities. They have gone to forests and they have done a lot of austerities. His own father, Pandu, was so austere. Right? So that way, he had a very good family lineage, and he himself was very exalted in many qualities. Right? He was the son of the demigod Indra, and he was bestowed with many wonderful weapons from great demigods like Lord Shiva, Agni. Right? So in that way, he was very famous personality. He had very wonderful qualities. And most importantly, he had Krishna himself as his most intimate friend. Bhakto sime sakha cheti. Prabhupada says all these things were there. And even then, Arjuna is expressing his inability. And 5,000 years ago, situation was much better. Right? Recently, somebody sent me one infographics, an image. How Bangalore, how it was in 1991. It was having 20% only buildings, 80% greenery and water bodies. And slowly, as time passed, 5 years, they had given pictures. By the time 2010, already that percentage of green and red had become ulta. Green had become 20%, red had become 80%, which means buildings have become 80%. It's 2010-12. And now 2023, practically there is no green at all. Only red, concrete jungle. That's why water crisis in Bangalore. Am I right, Sushila? Very severe crisis is going on.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so it is like, drought situation. So why? Because very, very, improper planning, and everybody are greedy for land and so many things, and they want to only have development. Otherwise, Bangalore was known as Garden City. Where is garden now? Only Lal Bagh is there, I think, or Kabul Park is there. Otherwise, practically Bangalore has become jungle, concrete jungle. So hot it has become. I remember at least 25 years back, we never used to use even fan.
Yeah.
It was so pleasant weather. Now, fan has become not only fan, AC. AC we not even heard of in Bangalore. Right? So now AC has become a necessity. So this is the situation. As time goes on, the the degradation of the age also happens. So 5,000 years ago, Arjuna, who was very exceptional in his good qualities, had much better facilities than we have now. Even then, he refused to accept this system. And Prabhupada says, there is no such record in the history of Mahabharata or any scripture, but Arjuna did practice this yoga system. Which means he did not, he is actually he's expressing his inability and telling, I want to reject this yoga system. And the reason he's giving is about his unsteady and unstable mind, restless mind. More he will tell about in the next verse, but right now he's just telling it is impossible for me to accept this, and practically it is so even now. Right? So Prabhupada says, those who are simply imitating this to follow or trying to make a show of doing this are only wasting their time. Or they are simply cheating people. Prabhupada says this many times, many, many occasions. Right? They don't know what is the purpose of yoga. For them, they take some portions of this Ashtanga yoga they take. Like, yogasana, exercise. Right? Yama, niyama, asana. Asana means from bodily exercise. That they take, and that is yoga. Or pranayama they take. That is yoga. They don't know what purpose. They think, by doing that, my headache will go. Or my diseases will be cured. I'll reduce my weight. I can enjoy my life. I look more younger. This is what they're thinking. You see, unfortunate. Right? Which means, indirectly, Arjuna is hinting how this yoga system will be misused. Better we reject this. Two things. One is impracticality of this. Secondly, the different aspects of this yoga will be taken and misused. Two aspects. Next, verse number 34. Very important verse. Chanchalam hi mana Krishna pramathi balavadridam tasyaham nigraham manye vayor iva sudushkaram. When he said, Arjuna is describing the nature of our mind. Because he hinted out that mind is chanchalatva sthitim sthiram. It is restless. Chanchala means restless, flickering. And sthiram means unsteady. Both mean the same. If you see in this chapter, verse number 19, when you come to the stage of samadhi, how your mind should be so stable, steady, Krishna explains. He gives the example of a lamp in a windless place. It does not waver. You see, a lamp, if it is not having any disturbance of wind, any other direction, it will simply nicely, burn. Little wind is blowing, then it will start wavering, right? So this example Krishna gives. How the transcendentalist, whose mind is controlled, remains always steady in his meditation on the transcendental self, like this, as a lamp in a windless place. Yatha deepo nivatasto. Vata. Right? You have seen AC trains. Vatanukulita. Right? AC coaches are called Vata. Vata means air. Nivata means no air. When there is no air, windless place, the lamps, the flame burns very steadily without any agitation. Right? So, this is what it means. Sthira, steadiness. So, Arjuna is describing 4 important aspects of the mind's nature. Chanchalam. Mind is flickering, restless. Right? You can see how mind is all around. Especially during chanting, we can experience this. Right? You want to chant and hear, but mind will go away. It will just slip. It's like a naughty child. You want to keep it under your control, but somehow it will slip off. Wherever it will go, here and there, run off. Our mind is like that. Chanchalam. Then, next quality is pramathi. Pramathi means, Prabhupada says, it is turbulent. Very important, to understand is how Krishna is explaining, rather Arjuna is explaining these wonderful qualities. Turbulent meaning when mind is got an input of, say, somebody scolds you or tells something bad about you. Agitation starts. How can he say like that to me? What does he think about him? Turbulence. No? Turbulence means, it is too much agitated. Mind is like that. Right? Very, very, just 1 minute back, you're all very nicely talking. Right? One is restless. Restlessness you can see when you go to mall. So many things around you. Oh, this I want. No, I want this. No, that one. Oh. And the mall is made like that, with so many shops and so many colorful things to attract you. Come here, I am good. So that is called restlessness and turbulence. And balavad dridham, 2 words. One is balavad. Balavad means very strong. Prabhupada gives an example of how you are sitting here in your house in Bangalore. Suddenly you get a thought of one of your friends in America. The mind goes there forcefully. It has traveled within no time. Thousands of miles. Yes, that's how the mind is very strong. And dridham. Dridham means stubborn, obstinate. Like the child, cries, I want that toy. I want. No, it'll make so much of noise. Then finally parents will say, okay, take it. Right? So these 4 qualities of mind. Restlessness, turbulence, then it is very strong and obstinate. Very important. You have to understand our mind. See, Bhagavad Gita is in one sense, a mirror for all of us to know who you are. Otherwise, nobody tells who you are. You think I'm a very big man. I'm very big. No, I'm a very important person. But you have a mind. And what did Krishna say in the beginning of this chapter? One who has uncontrolled mind, he's staying with his enemy forever. Right? Uncontrolled mind is enemy. Right? That's what Krishna said in the beginning of this chapter. 4th and 5th verses. Right? 5th and 6th verses, sorry. Right? Bandhur atmatmanastasya yenatmayatmana jitaha anatmanat shatrutve vartet atmaiva shatru. Bandhu. That person's mind which is controlled is a bandhu, friend. And that person's mind which is not controlled is a shatru, Krishna said. Right? So, the mind having these qualities in the material world constantly being, and moreover, we are having situation in the world wherein these aspects of the mind are further fueled by so many other factors. Very peaceful mind. Suddenly you see something, some image, say for a man, opposite sex, woman. Oh, mind got agitated. And nowadays it is even more, we are more vulnerable. Right? Why? Because we have our very close friend, mobile, keeping in their pocket. Very easy to get agitated anytime. All this is, more recently one senior devotee was, discussing. He was telling how the mind's restlessness is nicely, being taken care by the modern day social media in the form of reels. 10, 15, 20 seconds, there is some short videos on different platforms, YouTube, Facebook. There's like you go on seeing, you don't even know how much time has gone. Because it is restless, because your mind is so restless. Oh, one topic. Oh, so nice. Next. Totally disconnected. But you're taking a lot of, pleasure in that. Right? Like this, the different situations in our present day condition is further fueling these very qualities of mind. You eat passionate food, too spicy, too hot, mind becomes agitated. Right? Like this, and other aspects follow. Oh, I strongly feel for doing this action. I want to take intoxicant. Driven. Mind is pulling you. And very obstinate. Doctor has told, no. Just now you got treatment. One cigarette I will take. So like this, the mind is gone crazy. Right? And in this situation, Prabhupada says, for a man in the practical world who has to fight so many opposing elements, it is certainly very difficult to control the mind. Artificially, one may establish a mental equilibrium toward both friend and enemy, but ultimately, no worldly man can do so. As long as you're in the material world, these dualities will continue because mind is the one who is controlling you. You're under the control of mind. Because you have to transcend the mind. That's what Bhagavad Gita is telling us. So, Krishna is comparing to control this mind is even more difficult than the raging wind. Big hurricane you would have seen in the television, some news. Tornadoes, hurricanes. So, everything is... Right, but mind is even more difficult to control. Krishna, which is basically Krishna indicating that when uncontrolled mind can do disaster. Prabhupada says one place, all these nuclear weapons are in the hands of these demoniac leaders in the world now. Somebody's mind goes off. One button is enough. Whole world will blast. Right? There is, I think, last week or last to last week, there was a terrorist attack in Russia, Moscow. Just few terrorists entered, 4 or 5 of them, I think, and then started shooting. And they had already planned to plant some bombs inside the mall. Just it was a evening, and some lot of people were already there. Children, women, mercilessly, more than 200 people were killed, and many hospitalized. Yes, see, uncontrolled mind, right? So Prabhupada says, intelligence is supposed to direct the mind, but the mind is so strong and obstinate it often overcomes even one's own intelligence. Prabhupada quotes from a scripture. Intelligence is a driver, right? And mind is a driving instrument. It's like in a horse cart, right? The driver is holding the reins. The reins is supposed to be the mind, and the driver is supposed to control the reins. If the driver has no control on the reins, what happens? The horses go anywhere, everywhere. Right? So the mind's nature is, it is that it is so strong and obstinate, it is overcoming even our own intelligence. Right? I know smoking is bad, written on the cover of that cigarette packet, showing very, very, such a picture that, you'll feel, I should not smoke. But even then you smoke. Even then you commit sinful activities because mind is so strong and obstinate. It overcomes even one's own intelligence. So, such a mind is supposed to be controlled by yoga. Okay, see, such a big first point is control of mind only. That's why Krishna stressed on control of mind in the beginning of this chapter. Without control of mind, there is no yoga practice. So, in Kali Yuga, if this practice of yoga, which Krishna has explained now, it is not practical, what should we do? So Prabhupada says, the best, easiest process for anybody, everybody, even though you're staying anywhere, in your houses, in your factories, is to chant Hare Krishna. This is what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has suggested all of us. With all humility, if you chant this Hare Krishna mantra, then what happens? That will control your mind. which means the mind otherwise, which is very turbulent, agitated, strong, obstinate, restless, will be tamed. That is the meaning of mantra. Manatrayate. Mind liberated from all these different disturbances, turbulence, unsteadiness, obstinateness, all these things should be delivered from that. Then that sound is called mantra. That sound vibration is called mantra. And Hare Krishna is Maha Mantra, greatest of all the mantras which can immediately deliver you. And what is the system? Prabhupada says, just chant and hear. Mind comes under control automatically. Just see the powerful process. Savai mana Krishna padara vindayo. One should engage one's mind fully in Krishna like this. The mind should not have any other engagement. Then there is no question of any agitation. Material things are there, it will agitate. Subject matter of matter is what causes agitation. Okay, fine. So this is the question of Arjuna. That this system of yoga seems to be impractical and unendurable because of unsteady mind, and mind's nature is this: restless, obstinate, turbulent, strong. What is the solution, Krishna? What should I do? So Lord answers into 2 verses this particular question. Sri Bhagavanu Vacha. Asamshayam mahabaho manodur nigraham chalam abhyasena tu kaunteya vairagyena cha grahhyate. So, immediate response of Lord Krishna to the question of Arjuna, this question is that, yes, Arjuna, your particular observation of minds being restless, I fully acknowledge. It is very difficult to control the mind. Mano durnigraham. Durnigraham, Prabhupada says, means very difficult to curb. Undoubtedly. There is no doubt about it. I fully agree with your point. But it is possible. Why? Because if Krishna also doesn't have answer, then what is the point? The whole Bhagavad Gita, Arjuna has accepted Krishna as his spiritual master in the beginning, Shishyasteham. So if Krishna doesn't have answer, then there is no point in reading Bhagavad Gita. That's what outside people do. They have a problem, but they don't know whom to ask. They go to so many people and ask, they'll not get a satisfactory answer. They'll go on like this whole life. Unanswered questions. Like this, and that they will leave their body. Again, life goes on. So, Bhagavad Gita is teaching us, all your questions are answered in Bhagavad Gita by Lord Krishna. Consult Bhagavad Gita. Answers to all your questions. So what is the answer for how to control the uncontrolled mind? Very simple. Krishna says, Abhyasena tu kaunteya vairagyena cha grahhyate. It is possible by constant practice and by detachment. Right? 2 words. Prabhupada uses. Abhyasa, constant practice. Not simply one day practice. Everyday practice. That's called constant practice. And vairagya, detachment. Right? So what is practice? Prabhupada explains. Very nicely Prabhupada explains this particular purport is very good. Super. Wonderful. So read it again and again. This encapsulates the complete essence of Krishna consciousness teachings. A very, very beautiful manner. Right? Prabhupada says, what is this practice? Because the rules, regulations of Ashtanga Yoga, which we have described earlier, it is not practical for everybody. That is also a practice. Just like Prabhupada says, strict rules and regulations of going to a sacred place, focusing one's mind on the super soul, restraining senses and mind, observing celibacy, remaining alone. It is not practical for everybody in this age of Kali. So what is the practice? The practice of Krishna consciousness is what we are supposed to follow, which is very practical for this age of Kali. What is Krishna consciousness practice? It is having 9 different processes, 9 different engagements in devotional service to Lord. Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, like this it goes on. Archanam, Vandanam, Dasyam. I'll not read into details. So Prabhupada is telling the first step, the first of the one of the 9 processes, the first 9, or the first of the 9 processes is called Shravanam. That is called hearing about Krishna. The first and foremost of such devotional engagement is hearing about Krishna. And Prabhupada says this is very powerful transcendental method for purging out the mind of all misgivings. Just see. If the mind has to be, out of all the different type of kalmasha, contamination, as Bhagavata says, abhadrani, misgivings. Misgivings means misreadings, misapprehensions, misunderstanding of this world. It's called misgivings. Abhadrani. Unwanted things are sitting, all garbage is sitting in our mind. If the mind has to be purged out of all these misgivings, the powerful method is Krishna. About Krishna, the Krishna sound about Krishna has to enter your mind. That will clean off. It's like a cleanser. Right? There are bacteria, other things, you take a sanitizer, no? So Krishna sound is the supreme purifier. That enters our mind, everything is out. Dirty things are out. The more one hears about Krishna, the more one becomes enlightened and detached from everything that draws the mind away from Krishna. It's such a wonderful statement. The more one hears about Krishna, every day you read Bhagavad Gita, which means you are hearing. Every day chant Hare Krishna and hear Hare Krishna. Perfect recommendation is that. If you do this day after day, what will happen? More you become enlightened and detached from everything. This is what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says. Cheto darpana marjanam bhava mahadavagni nirvapanam. The first effect of hearing and chanting is your dirty mind becomes cleansed. Like the mirror having a lot of dust, it becomes clear, you can see yourself. And you become detached from the everything, otherwise which you are so much, I am attached to, every day morning I get up, I have to have a bed coffee. Right? Or else every day I am attached so much that I have to see the news and I have to see the some television serials, otherwise I'll not get sleep. Or I am attached to so many things, like going to mall, going to so many things, social functions. If I don't go, I feel something incomplete. Like this attachment are there. But practice of Krishna consciousness solely will bring in that sense of understanding that these are all of no use for me. What is the use? Already I have my cupboard full of clothes. Again, I'm going to mall for what? People don't realize that. The clothes in the cupboard is overflowing. When you open the cupboard, it'll all fall down. But no, I had to go to mall. Why? I had to purchase some new, type of dresses have come up. For what? This is the problem. Right? So like this, the sense of detachment in your way of life, having a simple life will come in. This understanding will come in. So this is what is taking away everybody's mind. Right? We are just running around in our life to fulfill our artificial needs. So, Prabhupada very nicely says, by detaching the mind from activities not devoted to the Lord, one can very easily learn Vairagya. Right? Any activity which is not going to help me in devotion, I should not do. Okay, watching TV will not give you devotion? Definitely not. Why should I do? No, I'll not do. No, some Krishna program is coming, but Krishna program comes once in a while. Why you want to see whole day TV just for 2 minutes Krishna program? This is the point. Right? So like this, mind also plays tricks. You should be careful. So Prabhupada says, what is Vairagya? Vairagya means detachment from matter and engagement of the mind in spirit. Very simple. Constant practice of Shravana, Kirtana. And Vairagya means your willingness to act in a way that I will not engage my mind in anything which is not connected to Krishna. Simple. Right? So, Prabhupada very nicely says, some more practices are there. One is chanting, hearing. Next practice is eating prasadam only. Prabhupada concludes this verse, purport by telling, the treatment has, one is the medicine. And the disease, what is our disease now? Uncontrolled mind. So uncontrolled mind is making us to take repeated birth and death. We'll see in the 8th chapter. Krishna says how your mental situation will determine your next life. Yes, see, so important. Whatever state of mind, consciousness you have, that life you will get next without fail, Krishna says. If your mind is absorbed in Krishna, next life will not come to this world, you will go to Krishna Loka. So wonderful. So, our disease now is uncontrolled mind. So the treatment for this has two aspects. When doctor gives a treatment, it has medicine and diet. Right? So the medicine, Aushadhi, for this uncontrolled mind is chanting and hearing Hare Krishna mantra. And about Krishna. Shanvatam Sakatha Krishna Punya Shravana Kirtana, Bhagavata says. That's why while you're doing japa also, stress is what? Chant and hear that same sound you are vibrating. Hare Krishna you hear. Very important. It is important principle you have to do in chanting. You should vibrate the sound Hare Krishna and hear. Distinctly chant, very clearly and sharply hear. Very important. But same sound, when you Krishna sound has to go inside. That's what Prabhupada says. The more one hears about Krishna, the more one becomes enlightened and becomes detached from everything. This purport, I tell you, is very, very wonderful. Telling the complete secret of what we are doing, Krishna consciousness. Right? Prabhupada says, when you have this expert treatment of taking this medicine of chanting Hare Krishna mantra every day and hearing, then eating only prasadam, then your mad mind will be okay, will be cured of madness. Right? Prabhupada says, you see, eating prasadam is appropriate diet. This treatment is a process of Krishna consciousness. So Krishna said, constant practice, detachment is the way to control the mind. The practice is 9 processes of devotional service. The 9 practices are there. But of them, the first, Shravanam, and next, Kirtanam is very important. Even though you are chanting, but you should hear. That's why Shravanam comes first. Like I am talking now, you are hearing. If you don't hear, your mind is absorbed somewhere. Whatever I am talking will not make any sense. But what did you say? Right? Sometimes, we will be talking and your mind is somewhere. Somebody is telling something. What did you say? I didn't hear you. Because mind is absorbed in something else. Mind is hearing something within. Subtle talks. Right? So whereas mind should be attentively hearing. That is the first thing. When you are reading Prabhupada's books, you should Here means you should be attentively understanding what Prabhupada is trying to tell. That's called hearing. Knowing, recently Mother Purnima was telling how, chanting Hare Krishna mantra, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. As you are chanting, you're trying to know that word. Oh, I'm chanting, I'm in the Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. You're able to recognize. That is called hearing. Knowing the sounds, what you are vibrating. When you know that what you are vibrating is Krishna. Oh, Krishna means that background knowledge is there. Oh, Krishna is Supreme Lord. He's the controller of everything. That Lord has come as sound. This knowledge is there. That Krishna has come as Hare Krishna mantra. This background understanding. That is called knowing. So it all comes with a proper, reading, repeated reading of Prabhupada's books. Right? So this is the recommendation Krishna gives. Now, next verse again, Krishna is telling one more interesting thing. Verse 36. Asamyatatmana yogo dushprapa iti me matihi vashyatmana tu yatata shakyo avaptum upayataha. Asamyatatmana. Samyama means controlled. Asamyatatmana means uncontrolled, unbridled. The mind which is not controlled, for that mind, self-realization is very difficult, Krishna says. Which means, I will do anything and everything and also I will do yoga. No, not possible. I will do all nonsense and 5 minutes I'll sit for some dhyana. There's a nice, poster. Maybe many of you would have seen WhatsApp, so much circulated. That there was a photo of an animal. Nothing to disregard any animal, but just as a joke, they had put dog. This on 31st December. It is fully intoxicated with everything and then party, everything. And first morning, that is January 1st, fully dressed up like a devotee and then I am a nice person. I am a devotee. One day night, whatever, you are a different person. But next day you are you're giving one more mask to your whole existence. This doesn't work. So Prabhupada says, yoga practice without mental control is a waste of time. Right? Where mind is not controlled, it is a waste of time. Prabhupada gives one more nice example. If you are trying to ignite fire and also pour water on it, how will the fire burn? Right? So to practice yoga, and you're trying to engage in enjoyment, sense enjoyment also. How it is possible, both of them? One more example Prabhupada gives elsewhere. When you are keeping the iron rod within the fire, for some considerable time, you have to keep it to become red hot. But if you take the iron rod and keep it in the water, again put it in the fire, when you think it will become red hot? Never. Our chanting has become like this now. Uncontrolled mind is always distracting and disturbing us. We're not able to chant steadily, constantly. Ananya cheta satatam. Krishna says later on in 8th chapter, how to chant. Right? So, we are lot of things to achieve in spiritual life. Right? We are not even, doing the things rightly. So we have to little introspect on this. So Krishna says, for uncontrolled mind, practice of yoga is, is impossible. It's very difficult. But whose mind is controlled, Vashayatmana, and who strives for right means, is assured of success. Right means is what we discussed just now, some time ago, about the practice of Krishna consciousness. Prabhupada stresses on chanting and hearing and taking prasadam. In one Recently, I was hearing one talk Prabhupada is having with devotees in Chicago, America, 1975. That talk, he says how just simply chant, dance, and take prasadam. All things are included in that. Nothing else you do. You should do. Chant, dance, and take prasadam. That's all. If you do everything every day, these three, enough. Your life is perfect. So Prabhupada says, unless one is engaged in Krishna consciousness, he cannot steadily control the mind. That is the point. So Krishna is again reiterating the point that the practice has to be authorized, not some manufactured or concocted practice. Whatever you think is okay, we can do. No. You have to follow a standard authorized process. Only then it is practical. Okay. Verse number 38. Arjuna's next question. There are 3 questions in this series. Arjuna uvacha. Ayatihi shraddhayopeto yogakshalita manasaha aprapya yoga asamsiddhim kam gatim Krishna gacchati. Now Arjuna is specifically asking a question. Okay, somebody would have taken up the practice of yoga, but for some reason he could not continue or complete the process of yoga. It is like unfinished. You entered the degree college to complete the degree, but somehow you couldn't complete. Right? It is incomplete. Sometimes I have heard many students, oh, my 6th semester is still pending. Other semesters are still pending, half midway. So for such people, unsuccessful yogis, what is that? What is their destination? What will happen to them? Right? And next verse, Arjuna asks, Kachin no bhaya vibrastas chinnabhram iva nashyati apratisto mahabaho imudho brahmanapati. Right? So they have not completed their yoga system properly. Looks like they are neither in the material life they are happy, nor spiritual life. They are in between. So Arjuna gives the example of a cloud which is scattered. Generally, we see small clouds come and gather and become big cloud, and that is going to have a thunder and rainfall. But a scattered cloud, you see, it is not having any moisture in it. It's Arjuna says Chinnabhram means a cloud which is like a ribbon cloud, perish like a ribbon cloud, right? Which is scattered, which is all broken. His life is neither here nor there. What is this? So he's asking Krishna in verse 39, Etan me samshayam Krishna chetum arhas asheshatah tvad-anyah samshayasyasya cheta nahi upapadyate. This is my doubt, Krishna, and I ask you to dispel it completely. But for yourself, no one is to be found who can destroy this doubt. Question number 2. Arjuna is asking. So this question particularly, and the explanation around it which Arjuna has given is basically regarding the destination of an unsuccessful yogi. Somebody went to college, he didn't continue. What happened to him? What to do with him? Prabhupada gives example. During his time, when somebody used to study medicine, right? If he completes, he will get a certificate called Doctor of Medicine. Right? If he doesn't complete properly, fails, he will be called licensed medical practitioner. 1 level below. Okay. Nowadays, that is also not there. Right? Nowadays, they are called compounders or something, assistants. But in the previous time, at least, he attempted to become doctor, but somehow he couldn't become doctor. So he's a licensed medical practitioner with some, so the people can understand. He's one is doctor, one more is licensed person. He knows little lesser than this person. Like that. So Arjuna's question is similar something he did know, something he would be going forward. What will happen to him, Krishna? Right? So basically, Arjuna's question is general with regard to any yoga practice. It may be Jnana Yoga, Ashtanga Yoga, or Bhakti Yoga. Somebody has taken up some yoga practice. He has somehow, for some reason, he gives No, Prabhupada says due to worldly mindedness, Charita Manasaha, whose mind has got deviated, because mind is supposed to be fully controlled as per the description we have just now discussed. Right? Controlled mind is what makes a man successful in yoga. Uncontrolled mind is, yoga practice will be unsuccessful. Right? Now, somebody who has done practice for some time, what will happen to him? Prabhupada very nicely says, why sometimes we see somebody has taken up Krishna consciousness, but due to some reason he has fallen back. Many times we say, oh, this devotee, I have seen him as a full-time devotee, but now he's wearing again pant and shirt. Why? Because Prabhupada says, when you take up transcendental path or the path of spiritual journey, is more or less like declaring a war against Maya. Because Maya has nicely captured everybody and kept her under clutches. Oh, this world is very good, very beautiful, husband, wife, children, very beautiful. Go to malls, enjoy life. That's it. Sharvaka Muni says, right? Eat nicely, drink nicely. Who has seen next life? This is the modern day philosophy. So, this is called Maya. When you want to come out of Maya, no, this is not the right life. Eating, drinking, and sleeping like this is, Prabhupada says, it's animal life. Oh, I'm leading animal life so far. Oh, this I should not do. I should come to spiritual life. It's like you're going away from Maya. So practically, you're resisting Maya. Maya is trying to pull you back, but no, I want to chant Hare Krishna. I want to read Bhagavad Gita. So practically, Maya means it is working in two ways. One is called covering potency. She covers our real knowledge, which Krishna explained in third chapter. And she bewilders us that this world is everything is good. Maya Sukha is good. And next, when you want to little, come out of this world to become, move forward in your journey of spiritual life, she pulls your leg again. It is actually a thankless job of Maya to make you more and more serious in practice of your devotional path. So you have to resist Maya and move forward in devotional service or whatever path of yoga. If you don't resist, you become again succumb, or you get into a trap of Maya, then you will fall down. So in that way, Arjuna's question is very important one. Even in our spiritual life, so many ups and downs happen. I have heard. Okay, when I meet some person, I ask, oh, you have been chanting 4 rounds. How is your chanting going on? No, Prabhuji, now I'm not chanting 1 round also. Why? What happened? So many things happening in life. No, I can't even chant 1 round. Just see. Maya. So like this, many practical situations happen in our own life also. So it's something, having very deep meaning. We'll discuss more with reference to Krishna's answers to this question. Very interesting. The next session. So we'll close now. Anybody having any things to ask, discuss, comment? Okay. Nothing. We'll close now. Okay. Fine. Thank you, everybody. Sanyalji, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So
Hare
we'll
Krishna.
Hare Krishna.